B Squad? Welcome back to another video from KrissyBVlogs. I'm Krissy B. Today's video is going to be part 2 of fat girl fears or fat people fears, and we're talking about whether or not these fears are rational or irrational. So if you guys have any fears that I haven't mentioned, go ahead and comment below, or if you've experienced any of these fears or if any of these things have happened to you, comment below and let me know your story. I have them listed on my phone, so that's why I keep looking down, because I want to make sure that I don't forget any of the ones I wanted to talk about and I kind of stay on track a little bit. I have a little bit of an ADHD mind, and so it really helps when I can look down and be like, oh yeah, that's the path that I'm on. Sorry, I'm getting a phone call. So yeah. First, I guess if last video I did 1 through 5, this would be fear number 6. Yeah. Math is fun. Even adding, apparently. Okay, so fear number 6, going to a crowded restaurant. So, actually, fear number 5 and 6 are kind of on the same wavelength because they're both about restaurants. So fear number 5 is going into a crowded restaurant, and fear number 6 is not fitting in the restaurant booth. So like avoiding booths and trying to sit at tables, which, yeah. So fear number 5, going to a crowded restaurant. My biggest fear with going to a crowded restaurant is inconveniencing someone else and being looked at like, ugh, this is just happening because you're fat. And so if you go into a crowded restaurant and the tables are kind of close together, you might not fit through a particular space. I've noticed that. I've gone to Hometown Buffet a couple of times. I don't know if you guys have ever been to one, but there's certain sections of the restaurants where the tables are kind of like all just jammed in. And I literally make a path out before I actually start walking because I am so fearful of like getting stuck and having to ask somebody to move. Because as a fat person, I feel like when you ask somebody to move, and this is irrational, I am aware, but when you ask somebody to move, it's, more of a burden to them because you're fat. I don't know. So that is one of my biggest fears about going to a restaurant, is just it being overcrowded, my body possibly touching somebody when I'm walking through to get to my table or walking out of the restaurant. So that's fear number 6. Fear number 7 is might not fit in a restaurant booth. So my preferred seating when I do go out to eat, which is not super often, is to sit in a booth. And the reason why I like to sit in a booth is I feel like it's more enclosed and it's not so open. So it's just a little extra privacy, and also the seats are a lot more comfortable. Most restaurants, when you're sitting at like table and chairs, it gets super uncomfortable, and I think part of that is because I'm short. So when I sit in a chair, my feet swing, and when there's like a softer, thicker cushion under, it doesn't hurt my legs as bad. But when I'm sitting in a really hard, firm chair, especially with my weight, it's not as comfortable. So not fitting in a restaurant booth. And I have sat down a couple of times where I sit down and it's very tight against my tummy, and I don't know, just like if your tummy were to come over the table or something, for me, I would be so embarrassed. And it's so weird too, because I don't judge other people. Like I can see somebody and they can be bigger than me or smaller than me, and I'll be like, oh, that person looks so nice, that person's beautiful. And I don't give any care to whether or not they fit in a booth or whether or not their tummy is coming on the table on the booth or anything like that. But for me personally, I feel like if that were to happen, it would be a really big deal. Next fear, 8. Yeah. Fear number 8 is riding a bike. When I was younger, I rode my bike all the time, and it's super good exercise, so I've been wanting to get back into bike riding, but there's a couple of things that go along with that. The last time I rode a bike, I was smaller than I am now, and it was so difficult to ride a freaking bike, and I didn't understand why, and obviously it's because it takes a lot more effort to like hold yourself up and to keep pedaling and going when you weigh as much as I do versus, when I was a kid. So it's much more difficult. I'm a short person, so I always get bikes that I have to kind of lean to the side to get off of. I'm always afraid of falling and really hurting myself because I'm fat. And also because I'm fat, the seats are so small compared to my behind that they're extremely uncomfortable. And then the last reason why I'm afraid of riding a bike is because I might break it, like the frame. I'm afraid of that. And I never ever had that fear until at one point I was going shopping with my grandmother and she was going to buy herself a bike. She didn't make any mention about whether she was getting me a bike or I was going to be riding this bike or anything. She just said, I want to get a bike so I can ride a bike. And I was like, okay, well, don't fall because you're a lot older and you could really get hurt. But anyways, she goes up to the store clerk. I'm standing right next to her. This is the grandmother that had me on a diet and didn't really do it the right way. And bless her soul, she has a lot of problems. She wasn't always the nicest, but I know she feels bad for some of the stuff she did, and I know she loves me. She just didn't have a very good example herself on how to love or how to help people. So anyways, we're at the store. She's buying a bike for her. She asked the store clerk to come over, and I think I was maybe 15 at the time, something like that. And the store clerk comes over and he's a pretty young guy and I was like, oh, he's so cute. And my grandma goes, what do you think about this bike? And he's like, oh, it's okay. I mean, we don't have top of the line bikes, but if you're just trying to ride casually, it'll get you around town, like it'll get you around your neighborhood. And then she goes, well, specifically, I mean, can she ride it? And he didn't really understand what she meant, and she further explained, like, what's the weight limit? Will she be able to ride it without breaking it? So I was mortified. I think my face turned red. I immediately walked away, and my mom was shopping with us, but she was somewhere else in the store. So I went and found my mom. I told her what happened. I think I cried a little bit. And ever since then, I have been so afraid to get back on a bike. There's several other reasons listed, but I think that is my top reason why I'm fearful of riding a bike. Is kind of like a cartoon. I have this very visual picture in my head of riding on my bike and then like the frame just like slowly collapsing. Probably irrational. I will be right back. My baby just woke up and he's crying. Hi guys, sorry for that brief interruption. So this video is almost done. For the rest of it, well, maybe the rest of it, we'll be sitting here with my son. This is Grayson with the really crazy hair because he just woke up. So we're just going to finish up the last couple fat girl or fat people fears. We are on fear 9, and fear 9 is a fear of riding horses. So the big thing with riding horses, I used to do it all the time when I was a kid, and I loved doing it. My biggest concern with riding a horse, again, kind of like the bike, is being too big. I feel like I would go to, rent a horse to ride on the beach or something like that and be told, hey, there's a weight limit. Or if they did happen to let me, sorry, my ears itching. If they did happen to let me ride the horse, that something terrible would happen or the horse's legs would collapse from under them or something like that, just because, I'm a very large weight. And at this point, I don't really know, like, what a horse can handle weight-wise and what they can't. So maybe if I had some more information, that wouldn't be a fear, or maybe it would be a total rational fear. So if you have any information on horse weight restrictions for riders, go ahead and let me know. And then I think the final fear is just a fear of the doctor's office. And the reason why I'm fearful of going to the doctor is because every time I go to the doctor for something, it's always like, hey, you need to lose weight. I went to the doctor's office one time for a scar. I had a scar on my leg, and it's a round leg. I still have it, a round leg. It's a round leg too, but it's a round scar. It's like a little circle. Where is it? Sorry, it's fuzzy. But it's like a little round circle, like dead center of my shin. And so it's very visible. It's discolored, so it's got like more pigmentation. It's kind of like a purplish color, and I've always hated it. So I went to a dermatologist to see if there's anything that I could do, and literally the dermatologist looked me dead in my eye and said, "You need to lose weight. If I lose weight, my scars will go away." Like, I didn't realize that losing weight was such a miracle. And he also told me if I don't want to get scars in the future to lose weight. And I do understand there is some science to that, like your body doesn't heal as well, especially if you're diabetic, which I'm not. But your body doesn't heal as well when you have excess weight because of blood flow, certain things like that. But people get scars all the time, whether they're skinny, whether they're fat, like tall, short, whether you're Asian, whether you're white, whether you're black, like you get scars. So I was just so shocked that he told me I had a scar because I was fat, and he gave me no options. I ended up going to a plastic surgeon to see what they said, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we have some pigmentation cream you could use for it if you wanted, or I could do a surgery to remove it. It's just not the safest surgery because it's right over your bone." So my experience with doctors has been a little bit frustrating just because of the fact that everything has to do with my weight. And I do understand that weight impacts health significantly, but that doesn't mean that every single thing I'm experiencing is because I'm overweight. So anyways, guys, that is the last 5 of my, no honey, that is the last 5 of my top 10 fears as a fat person or a fat woman. If you guys have any fears that I didn't mention, or if you guys have personal experience with these fears, please go ahead and let me know in the comments below. I'm sure I'm not alone in this. So anyways, as always, thanks for watching. If you like this video and you want to follow me in my fitness and health and weight loss journey, go ahead and subscribe. Please click the notification bell. You can give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, or a thumbs down if you didn't. I'm always open to constructive criticism as long as it's not just people being mean to be mean. Anyway, thanks, B Squad. Bye.